Hello everyone. It's been a little while since I've done a video, a couple months, and hopefully this is a good video for you to come back to. And today I want to talk about the movie Back to the Future and kind of what they're really trying to show you. And I've touched on this subject many times, but looking at it again and looking at it closer, the theme that I'm going to talk about is even more obvious, but this is an older slide that I have made, but I'm going to show you how the DeLorean represents Mercury, right? We have to reach 88 miles per hour to go back in time. Mercurial year, 88 days. Mercury, the god of financial gain, trickster. Okay, and I'm going to show you how that connects to the Polynesian god, Maui. And Maui was also a trickster god, and one of the things he did is he stole fire for the humans from the underworld. And in the movie, of course, in order to get the DeLorean back to the future, the fire will be the lightning, and I'll show you how this theme works. Okay, but first I want to show you this kind of a neat little quote here from Plato, probably around 400 BC. I'm not exactly sure, but in that area, from the Greek philosopher Plato. But the world is indeed a living being endowed with a soul and intelligence, a single visible living entity containing all other living entities which by their nature are all related. So even back in the time of Plato, around 400 BC, you could say he recognized, the existence of a matrix, or everything was connected in this world. And if you watch my channel, or if you watch Decoding with Cody, or the Gematrinator, you can easily come to the conclusion, well beyond any probability of coincidence, that these thematic synchronicities are happening all the time, connected by numbers and by themes or archetypes, and that a lot of those archetypes or themes, right, they derive from the planets, or the mythology of the planets, or the stories behind the mythology of the planets. Kind of like I showed you in the last video, how Turning Point USA with Charlie Kirk was founded on a Venus-Sun transit day, and in Taurus, the bull. And we'll talk about the bull a little bit because it plays into Back to the Future. The antagonist, Biff, is related to the bull. Okay, so let's just take a look real quick at the very beginning of Back to the Future and how it ends. Okay, so the beginning, Biff is kind of an incessant bully to George McFly, and at the end of the movie, right, he's basically just their servant, right? He does everything for them, super nice. So his story arc goes from bully to servant, right? And this archetype was also just shown in a movie that just came out, and I'll get to that maybe in this video, but Predator Badlands has the same thing, same theme going on. That just came out last month, and I'll kind of show you how all that works with the movement along this matrix we're in here with all these themes that have been happening. And the whole movie is about Marty. This whole Back to the Future movie is about Marty. What he's doing is he's reclaiming his estate. Okay? That's what the movie's about. He's reclaiming his estate. Biff goes from the bully to the servant, and they show this in the climax of the movie. Okay. So when Marty goes back to 1955, right, Biff is still a bully, and one of the famous lines that he says, that Biff says, is "make like a tree and get out of here." Okay, this tree is super important because it's encoded into his name, right? Biff. The etymology of Biff can mean ox or bull, and the bull we're talking about is a papal bull. If you remember, I showed you the papal bull Unum Sanctum about the human creature. The human creature that they're talking about is the afterbirth of the placenta. And we're going to do more videos and go way into more detail this after this one, but this is what this movie is showing. This can be your best friend, or I should say it can be your worst enemy, or it can be your best friend, and that's the story arc of Biff Tannen in this movie and their relationship to the McFly family. Tannen means fir or tree. The etymology of Tannen, fir or tree. He says, make like a tree and get out of here, right? Bully the whole time. At the end, he ends up being basically their servant, right? He does everything for them, and he does what he's told. Okay. So this is the Tree of Life. I actually used this thumbnail in one of my recent videos, and the reason I used it in that particular video is because of its it looks just like the placenta, and I'll show you that in a second. Right at the very end of the movie, the whole point of getting Marty back to the future is they have to get the cord connected to transfer the lightning from the clock tower to the DeLorean, to Mercury, right? And this tree at the end, right, it catches the cord, cuts the cord, and then the cord gets reconnected when they get the tree out of the way, and then Marty can go back to the future. But this tree being caught on this cord is this right here. It's the umbilical cord. Right? Here's the Tree of Life, and this is what a placenta looks like. It's connected to the cord. If you Google placenta, you'll get a lot of pictures that look exactly like this. It's exactly like the Tree of Life when it's all laid out. The afterbirth, the second birth, is the Tree of Life. Right? And this whole climax of the movie, Back to the Future, is all about Doc, right? Doc usually delivers a baby. But Doc is trying to connect the cord, right? It's all about the cord. And we have the clock tower, right? Saturn, Satan, right? And the lightning. So here he is trying to plug in the cord. And when he tries to plug in the cord, when it's all said and done, the cord is what sends Marty back to the future in the DeLorean. And then when he gets back, his whole life has changed. Everything's better. Not only is Biff their servant, but their family is prosperous, and his brother and sister are prosperous, and he just can't believe what's going on when he gets back to 1985. So in the movie here at the end, when Marty is lining up at the start line to catch the lightning, he's parked right next to this sign that says Bluebird Motel. And you can see he has the hook to catch the lightning, to catch the fire. Now, in the Polynesian mythology, Maui, the trickster, right, he captures the fire for the humans, for man, actually. Maui brings fire to the world. He's the revelator of birds. Some of Maui's most renowned feats included causing birds, which were invisible to mortal eyes, to become visible. Right? And that's why they're showing the Bluebird Motel. It's all about Maui because, right, Marty has to put the hook in to catch the fire, to catch the lightning. So they're showing you the Maui theme as well. Now, I bet there's more. Maui and Mercury, right? They're basically an analog. Usually the Greek and the Roman, Hermes and Mercury are more associated, but when we cross over to the Polynesian mythology, of course, Maui would be probably an analog of Mercury as well, being it's the trickster god, and they're showing it to you in this movie without a doubt because of this hook symbolism, and that's what Maui wields, the hook. Right? Remember the movie Moana with The Rock, right? The hook, trickster. I think, and there's a lot of symbolism, of course, having The Rock do that too, but so Maui, he made birds man to be able to see birds. He wields the hook, and he steals the fire for mankind. So as Marty's lining up here, Doc's still trying to get the cord connected, right? It gets stuck on the tree. And at the very end, right when the lightning strikes at 10:04, right, comes down the line, gets the cord reconnected just in time for the hook, Mercury, Maui, to go back to the future. And like I said before, the whole arc of movies actually, right, is all about Marty claiming his estate. And your estate, we'll get to this in the future, your estate lies here in the tree of life. You have what is called a birth certificate or land title for this organ, or this afterbirth placenta. That's what the birth certificate is a receipt for. It's a warehouse receipt for the estate that you've never claimed. And once you claim it, once you go back in time, right, you have to go back and reclaim what was lost, or I should say what was granted by your parents to the state. You have to go back and reclaim that. When you go back to the future, Biff is now polishing your car instead of crashing it and blaming you for all the bad things. But that is the story arc of Back to the Future. It's all about this reclaiming your estate, and your estate lies in the afterbirth. It's the tree of life. You have to swap positions, and we'll get more into that, but the movie is all about reclaiming your estate. Now let's take a look at some recent events that have happened that actually involved Hawaii, right? Hawaii is the Polynesian Islands, Hawaii, Maui. We had the Hawaii wildfires on the island of Maui back in 2023. They began on August 8th. But back on November 4th, we had this UPS Airlines flight 2976, and it crashed in Kentucky on the way to Hawaii. Honolulu, Hawaii, but it was on the way to Hawaii, right? The Polynesian island. And it was completely full of fuel for this long flight, and it made a huge fireball. And what's interesting is that it was a UPS, right? United Parcel Service. What is a parcel? A tract or plot of land. Real estate, a parcel of real estate, right? Crashed on its way to Hawaii. And what's interesting is crashed in Kentucky, and that was the location of the maximum maximum eclipse back in 2017. And you can see it was 2997 days from the first Great American Eclipse to the crash, which is just one off from the number of victims of 9/11. Total number of victims plus the hijackers was 2996. And the flight number was 2976, which is just one less than the right number of victims. It's just one off both ways. Pretty interesting how close it is, and that it's related to the eclipse, right? Both maximum eclipse occurred in Kentucky. I should say the longest part of the eclipse. I had a picture or a website with it up here, but you get the picture here. So, okay. Then we had Marchand Neeland. He passed away on November 6th, right? And he was from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Michigan, huge state that has to do with the legal status of that placenta. It gives away the whole definition of what it is. Okay? It specifically says that your birth certificate has nothing to do with the baby. It's all about the afterbirth. And the only state that shows that is Michigan, right? Marchand Neeland, right? Football, of course. Football is shaped like a mandorla, right? Jesus is depicted many times inside the mandorla. And, of course, the placenta or the afterbirth is born second, right? The organ itself is an archetype of Jesus, right? It has the second coming, right? It dies, right? It lives. It's a pulsing, living thing inside the mother, and then when it comes out, within a few minutes, it dies because it doesn't have a heart or lungs or anything, but it's considered as a live birth according to the law. I should say, according to their legal definitions, the placenta is considered a live birth, and we'll get to all that. It's all easily shown. You have to put all the pieces together, but it's all there, and I'll show that later. Okay, and then the movie 11/7, Predator Badlands, came out. Same thing. The Predator has to go to a death planet and fight the Kalisk, and he finds out the Kalisk is unbeatable. It regenerates, and you can't kill it, and it's super hard to kill, and the company, Weyland-Yutani, also is after the Kalisk that he's sent there to kill, to prove himself. So the company wants it, and so does he. And that's exactly what happens to the afterbirth. The company wants it, right? The United States corporation or the state, right? They give you a receipt. They want it, right? It gets granted to them by your parents, right? And they show that in this. And spoiler alert, but at the end of the movie, he doesn't end up killing the Kalisk, but he becomes friends with it, right? Just like in the movie Back to the Future. The incessant bully, which you can't beat, ends up being his servant. Exact same thing. Predator Badlands, right? Land again, right? Because your birth certificate is a land title. Then we have the death of Sally Kirkland, right? Kirk. You had Charlie Kirk. Kirk means church. I showed you this before. I can find it here. Circe, Kirk. And I've had this window opened on my computer for a very, very long time. Necromancy, but they refer to the goddess Circe in this Wikipedia page, and it's all about summoning the dead, right? It's all about switching places with the afterbirth. The practice of necromancy is what's used to trick you into having Biff be the bully, right? Got to get everything straightened out, and then Biff will be the servant. He'll help you out when Marty gets his estate. Okay, Predator Badlands, Sally Kirkland. She kind of had an interesting filmography. Of course, Mercury the Trickster. What else do we have here? But yeah, guys, just wanted to show you that. It's all about the tree of life, right? That whole movie is showing, connecting that cord back. You're getting your, right? Biff, the bull, the papal bull, tannin, fir or tree, the tree of life. It's all about getting that estate back. Something you never knew that even existed or any of that. So I'm working on a video. The first part of the video is probably just slightly less than an hour, maybe like 50 minutes. Let's see, yeah, about 48 minutes. And I have 3 clips here, and I'm trying to put it with some slides. I gotta probably add some more slides so you'll understand what is being talked about in these audio clips. And the reason I'm doing this is it's probably the shortest amount of time, 48 minutes, to introduce you to the importance and the origin of the placenta. And there's some, like I said, I want to add some more slides here, some more visual aids, because right now this is just audio. And then before I post this, I will let you know on YouTube, but I'm going to post it on my Odyssey channel. Okay? And I will let you know on YouTube when I post over there. I have a lot of subscribers. I would say this is a lot anyway. I think 3,000. I'm kind of curious who's going to go over to Odyssey and learn some things. And we will go from there, because what it comes down to is you need to tell someone in a specific way. You have to learn some things and tell someone that you're alive, right? You have to be put into the book of life, and probably a good idea to show that, get a start on it, because it's just the way it's going to have to go. All right. Back here. All right, guys, like I said, I will work on this other video. I'll let you know on YouTube when I post it on Odyssey. And so be sure to subscribe over there, or subscribe when I post the video. And I'll give you some good visual aids to go along with these clips, so you can have a place to look to with some real information, not just conjecture or mythology, quote unquote. So, and then the first 48 minutes will be about what's going on with that, and then another video here, Bernice Speakman. Once you know what's going on here with the birth certificate and the afterbirth, you should be able to put 2 and 2 together. When you listen to her, you'll know what she's talking about, even though she never puts it together herself. You'll know what she's talking about like I said, you'll know, you'll get it. If you listen and take in a little bit here, you'll understand where she's going when she's talking about estates. So, all right, guys. Kind of a long video, 25 minutes. Hopefully it wasn't too boring, but we're going to get into some real information here, and we're going to do it on the Odyssey channel, and we'll give you an introduction here hopefully shortly. So thanks for watching.